All right, welcome in. I'm the Kodiak, and today I'm here to talk about how the Minnesota Vikings are likely trading up for a quarterback in this year's draft. And before I get into it, leave a like if you enjoy, or you can always wait until the end, and hopefully I will have earned it. Comment what you think the Vikings should do in this year's draft in the comment section down below. Make sure to subscribe. I'm posting NFL content all offseason, and let's get right into it. I am not envious of the Vikings brass, who had to make a decision on Cousins, because while I do believe he's a great quarterback, great with some absolute disasters sprinkled in there, it only gets you so far. So how do you replace Cousins? And what Cousins gave you, he was, at some points, he looked like a top 7-8 quarterback in the National Football League, but all signs are pointing towards them going for their ultimate solution in the draft. They just made a trade for more draft ammo that all but symbolizes they're going to go up for a quarterback. They traded their 42, 188, and a 25 second for pick number 23 from Houston, as well as number 232, which I believe is a 7th rounder. And this symbolizes that they are going to do whatever they can to get their guy, and I, for one, could not be more excited. Sam Darnold, he's a bridge quarterback at best, and you know that the answer is not on your roster long term. Jaren looked absolutely lost against Green Bay. Dobbs had a fun insanity run, but that was short-lived, as he doesn't really have the skill to be a high-end starter. And yeah, Nick Mullins played some high-variance football, and a lot of it was not very good. So, people have been mad at me in my comments all offseason as a Broncos fan for saying that we don't have the infrastructure to develop a young quarterback. Well, guess what? Minnesota does. Great pass protection line. Addison, Hawkinson, and, oh yeah, the best wide receiver in the league. And a defense that was vastly improved from the Ed Donatel fiasco in 2022. This team is definitely ready for a young quarterback. So now that I've talked about all the logic behind this, what specifically, or who specifically, are they going up for? They are pretty much, let's get this out of the way, they are pretty much priced out of the range of being able to go for Caleb Williams at number 1 and the Commanders at 2 with Drake May. Couple reasons for this. So regarding Caleb Williams, I just don't see any price that the Bears would feel comfortable with giving your division rival a chance to take a quarterback who is one of the best quarterback prospects we've had in the draft since Burrow, in my opinion. We know that Kwesi Adofo-Mensah will deal in the division. He has shown a propensity to do so in his first draft with the team, where he let the Lions go up 20 spots in the first round, and he let the Packers go up in the second. And you can say whatever you want about Caleb's off-field personality and character or whatever. I don't think he's a bad dude, but he might be a bit of a diva. Regardless, there is no league or universe where I think he should be anywhere besides the first overall pick. He's a playmaker and one who has absolutely monstrous upside. His physical tools are absolutely incredible, and he's very Kyler-esque when he's on the move. He has great vision, and he'll make you pay with his legs and his arm, sometimes within the same play. Skipping the combine does not bother me. The fact that he paints his nails doesn't bother me. The fact that he did not do any medicals at the combine doesn't bother me at all. Like, why do the teams like Buffalo, why do teams like the Buffalo Bills, or why do teams like the Kansas City Chiefs need Caleb Williams' medical information? And Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears are not trading that pick, let alone to a team in their division with an already decentish roster, barring a massive overpay that wouldn't even be worth it from the Vikings side of things. Regarding the Commanders, they are also in a position to swing at Drake May. And when you're in a division with Dak and a division with Hurts, your urgency to find a quarterback who can go toe-to-toe with those guys is priority number 1 for the new regime of Dan Quinn and Adam Peters. And for a franchise that's undergone a million changes in the past few years regarding everything from team name to ownership to coach, they also aren't going to pass on the chance to take their franchise quarterback. And this Commanders team still does have some talent. Their defense was terrible this year, but Jack Del Rio is out the door, and Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne should at least provide something on the defensive side of the ball. Terry is also a team leader who we've never seen truly unleashed in the NFL because he's never had the quarterback to do it. And I think not all hope is lost for Dotson, but the messy mishmash of last year's offense under Bieniemy had him as the odd one out. And now they have a chance to get their guy. Not really encouraged about the Cliff Kingsbury hire, but May's ability to make big-time throws, the ability to make plays, and use his wheels as a weapon, being extremely hard to tackle, will have the Washington Commanders excited. So while May on the Vikings would be nut-worthy and a sight to behold, it ain't happening. He's good enough to where he could have gotten number 1 in a handful of recent draft classes, and the Commanders likely would not accept anything other than a gigantic overpayment unless Peters and company are not in love with Drake May. The Patriots at 3. This is where things get really interesting. Organizations will have this outlook if they are ready for a quarterback or not a lot differently than I will, and they know more than me. I'm not in the building in Foxborough. I'm in my apartment here in Las Vegas, to where people have commented and they said it looks like a prison room. But I do like Jaden Daniels. I love the ability to make big-time throws, and I also love his ability to use his vision at the second level, almost like he's a running back. He truly does have dynamic potential at the NFL level, but being some random guy on the internet who talks football and tries to evaluate prospects, I can assure you one thing and tell you one thing regarding the New England Patriots. This team, just going off their roster alone, is not ready for a quarterback. And I also question the defensive side of the ball now that Bill Belichick isn't there anymore, and no one on this unit stands out to me. To compare things, the Vikings roster, yes, it has holes, but the Patriots roster is straight Swiss cheese. They have very little redeemable qualities, and for a team this bad, with a rookie head coach starting from square one, is it smart to throw a rookie quarterback into that situation, or is it better to load up on value and have at least 5 first-round picks in 2 years to complete a rebuild? And if you're New England and not in love with a guy like Daniels, this is the direction you head in, at least in my opinion. If I'm Elliott Wolf and you offer me pick number 11 this year, pick number 23, and next year's first from Minnesota for this pick, and maybe a couple other random swaps that the Patriots win, and sweeteners, yeah, see ya. Number 3 is yours. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, you can have this pick. All yours. But Marvin Harrison Jr. is also an option here. Definitely not a bad one, because I don't think he'd be a complete waste year one, especially now that they have Brissett instead of Zappi, but they'd still need to figure out something long-term. There is an outside chance that this pick is J.J. McCarthy, not from New England themselves, but from another team. But I'd say there's a higher likelihood of Daniels at 2 than falling past 3, so yeah, I don't know. And the Chargers and Cardinals are also in positions to where they could trade back, simply due to the fact that both teams already have their franchise quarterbacks, but I don't imagine them doing so. The Cardinals will be in a position to draft an incredible wide receiver prospect pretty much no matter how the board falls. They really can't go wrong here, and I'm jealous of Awesome for it, because you're pretty much either getting Marvin Harrison or Malik Neighbors, and I could see the Chargers not getting as fortunate with how the board falls. There was a good chance that the Chargers were going to draft Neighbors before Keenan was traded, and now with Allen off the team, there is no other way this team can go, as it desperately needs a true wide receiver one that Justin Herbert can build a rapport with for the rest of his career. I keep seeing offensive linemen mocked to them, and in a case where MHJ and Neighbors are both off the board, if New England decides to go wide receiver at 3 and Arizona takes the other one at 4, I could see Harbaugh going with one of the linemen. So are these teams in good positions to trade back and get value? Yeah, of course. But what guys like MHJ and Neighbors are worth to the Cardinals and Chargers is so much more than what trading back could do for you. Blue chip wide receivers are, in a lot of cases, just not worth passing on, especially if you have an already established quarterback. Like, people thought that Cincinnati completely screwed up in 2021, taking Jamar Chase, and look what happened. And it just so happens that despite the fact that both these teams sucked last year, Arizona's definitely not even close to as hopeless as we thought they were coming into the year, coming into the 2023 NFL season, and the Chargers culture teardown is something that has been needed for a very long time. I think Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors are not difficult choices here at 4 and 5. And the furthest I can see them trading up, needing to trade up at least to get their guy, is with the Giants at number 6. The Dan Wagon, Daniel Jones, is definitely not the answer here. But there are going to be some good prospects at nearly every impact position, pushed down due to other teams at the top taking quarterbacks. This could be Olu, this could be Alt, this could be Odunze, but I'm under the assumption that Williams, May, and Daniels will be long gone by this pick, which leaves us with some other options at quarterback. I think Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr. would be terrible reaches here. But one quarterback has been creeping into the top 10 of NFL mocks lately, and seems to be the new flavor of the month, and of course I'm talking about Michigan quarterback J.J. McCarthy. This video is not really meant to be my opinions of prospects, just rationality for every route the Vikings could go during the draft. And I don't really see how you can justify the payoff in giving a king's ransom for a guy like J.J. McCarthy. He seems like a good dude, and I completely understand why people are fond of J.J. McCarthy's game, but I am not. However, I could see a McCarthy and O'Connell pairing working out and being a nightmare for the NFL to deal with. His accuracy needs some work, but he's surprisingly fast. That said, it's pretty troublesome that we don't know what McCarthy is. Michigan was so dominant that he's a literal mystery box, and I just don't see a guy who's ultra sharp. He doesn't have the archetype of a guy in the modern NFL who can go toe-to-toe with these absolute aliens of quarterbacks. Wouldn't be excited about him facing the Chicago Bears against Caleb Williams. Wouldn't be excited about him facing the absolute wagon that is the Detroit Lions. And he definitely does not have the physical upside to go toe-to-toe with Jordan Love either. So that is where the Vikings could go up to number 6. Their other option is just staying put. But if you wait until number 11, you're definitely not getting Williams. You're definitely not getting May. You're definitely not getting Daniels. And you're probably not getting J.J. McCarthy. And that leaves you with Bo Nix and Michael Penix. And I don't think either of them are worth the 11th pick in this draft. Maybe at number 23, but I don't know. I just think it feels like a waste of resources to make that trade up with Houston and not go up for their quarterback. So yeah, that's kind of every avenue I think that they can go down for this year's draft. Let me know what you want the Vikings to do if you're a Vikings fan. And that does it for me, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.